Tottenham take on Copenhagen in the Champions League. Can Tottenham keep their unbeaten record going in the Champions League? They have their eyes on winning this game. They'll look to respond after a couple of defeats across a couple of different competitions. Spurs struggling in an attacking sense. They'll need to score goals to win this game. Stay tuned to the very end because I'll be giving insights in terms of stats, my thoughts going into it, predicted lineup, preferable lineup, also getting your thoughts. We can, of course, score prediction too. So stay tuned. But first, if you're new, please like and subscribe. The top scorers for both teams then in the competition in the Champions League is Van der Ven for Tottenham with a single goal, 0 assists, and Larsson for Copenhagen, a goal and no assists. Both played 3 games. Tottenham haven't scored in their last 2 matches across all competitions, and both teams' form then coming into it, which leads in nicely. Tottenham in the last 5, it's 3 defeats, a win and a draw. And for Copenhagen, it's 2 wins, 2 defeats and a draw. So completely mixed, I would say, for both teams. Weather's meant to be 15 degrees, no rain. So it's good for that time of year. It's Tuesday, 4th of November, the game, 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time kick-off. So that's 20:00 in 24-hour clock. Champions League round 4. The referee is Belgian, Eric Lamberts, and TNT Sports 1 is where you can watch the game. But in terms of where both teams sit in the Champions League table, of course, last couple of years, completely different format. Spurs find themselves ahead of Copenhagen. Spurs are in 15th place with 5 points from 3 games. Copenhagen find themselves all the way in 32nd place with just a point from 3 games, 2 defeats and a draw for them. So they'll be very keen to avoid another defeat, and they'll be, I'm sure, wanting to win the game. But maybe this is one of them where they go, look, 3 points would be perfect, but maybe a point is more realistic. So my thoughts going into the game then, I feel confident because of the level of opposition, and there's no disrespect to Copenhagen because there's no easy game in the Champions League that there is the Premier League. They're both, hand in hand in terms of that. But I think this is one of our easier games, not the easiest of course, but at home I fancy us to get the job done. But there's no two ways about it. Again, this could be an unexpected obstacle because it's a home game for Tottenham, which you've got 2 this week, Manchester United coming after. That could be a real challenge, and the fact that we expected to win this game and we need to find a way of creating chances and scoring goals. There's no secret. I mean, it's 2 tough games, but the reason we haven't scored in the last 2, we haven't even looked like scoring. The XG's been like minimal, like against Chelsea, it's like close to 0. It's at 0.05. It's just like nothing, which means we're not expected to score, and we've got to find a way of changing that. I think going with a more attacking lineup, more attacking approach could be there, but I think the players also need to be better on the pitch. So let's get into preferable and predicted team then. We'll start with predicting Thomas Frank, what I think he will actually go with. So this is just literally predict Frank, as simple as that, what I think he will do on the day. I actually think he'll ditch the duo of Bentancur and Paulinho as a double pivot, because I think he recognises the game we can take a little bit more risk at home as well. I think he recognises that he needs to win this game, so I think he will finally take that risk. So yeah, I think I'll go with Vicario in goal, backline of Porro right back, Romero and Van der Ven as the centre backs, and then Udogie at left back. So in that defence, both Romero and Udogie returning from injury and starting. They both come off the bench in the last game against Chelsea. I think I'll go with the midfield 2 of Sarr and Paulinho, with Simmons in the 10. Kudus on the right, Odegaard on the left, then Richarlison down the middle. That's what I think Frank will do. I actually think he'd go with Richarlison over Mwani. I think he's been frustrated by the sound of it, for what he's been saying in his press conferences at post-match interviews in particular about Richarlison, but I think he sees him as a real vocal number 9. So I just think he'd give him the knock because Mwani played the last game, so I think Richarlison get the nod on this one. But yeah, I think all 3 players have come back from, all 3 players that come back from injury, they come from the bench against Chelsea. I think we'll start in Romero, Udogie and Odegaard. I think Simmons will come back in to start. I think I can see that, having said that he played a lot of minutes, didn't he, against Chelsea. He come on as a sub in like the 4th minute, I think it was, and then come straight, off. So he didn't play the full game, to be fair. Yeah, so I think Frank will go with just a little bit bold. Now switching over on screens what my team is, and you'll see there's only one change from this and that is Colin Mooney for Richarlison. And I really like Richarlison, and I see him as a useful player in this game to bring off the bench. But Mooney, for me, worked really hard against Chelsea, just didn't get the service. I think he's a good striker if he gets the service. I think his hold-up plays a little bit better, whereas Richarlison can't really hold the ball up for me. It's like a balloon, it comes off him, Sabutio almost, as I said in my previous video. Someone mentioned that. I'm not going to claim that, I've stole that because that's just so true. But you may notice I changed the formation to a 4-3-3. Someone go, that's not as attacking, but I just think in a way it is, because it stops that double pivot. At the moment we're having 2 number 6s, the way I see it, in Paulinho and Bentancur. I say ditch that. Have Paulinho, have this. I know on the screen it's hard to see because they're literally side by side, but I'd have Paulinho a little bit deeper and have Sarr and Simmons higher. Almost, do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'd have Simmons as a 6. Sorry again. I'd have Paulinho as the 6, and I'd have Sarr and Simmons as joint 10s. Like almost when you play a 4-2-2-2, you have 2 10s. That's what I'd do with Sarr and Xavi Simmons. I just think they'd put them really high and go really attacking. You could have in this game 5 really attacking players. That's my thinking, of Paulinho just sitting in front of the defence. I want Porro and Udogie very high. So when we have got the ball, just behind, back, like I'm talking, when we have it in their half, I'll just have Romero, Van der Ven and Paulinho back. Everyone else should be really attacking. I just think this would be a big change, which we haven't seen under Thomas Frank. But you don't score goals unless you take risk, and in the words of Thomas Frank, if you don't take a risk, you are taking risks. Simple as that. Don't take risks, you're taking a risk. But in other words, to translate, if you're not bold enough, you don't attack, then you take a risk. And Frank hasn't lived up to his own words, in my opinion. But score prediction in this game, I think our home form, of course, is an issue. I think we will improve with the performance and get the job done. I think we win this and go 3-1 Tottenham. I think a win would do a lot for confidence. I don't think our form in the last 5, as you heard there, isn't great, but the performance as well. People don't like the style of football, don't like the results. That's the thing. The style of football people can manage and cope with when you win, but it's nasty when you don't get a couple of good results. That's just not me. I can part with it, but I know other fans can't. They want to play the Tottenham way, rightly or wrongly. But come on, Spurs. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Like I said, hopefully we win. Up the Spurs.